This is Chieveley in Berkshire. It's named after a man called Cheever, probably a man, and his Lee. This is the Winterbourne, but it's known locally as the Ford, capital T, capital F. It only becomes the Winterbourne once it's crossed over into the neighbouring parish of Winterbourne, where the Winterbourne gets its name. It's called the Ford all the way along its length in Chieveley. This is the Herepartha. I mistakenly put this in the wrong place on the last video. It goes north, across North Heath, to a place called, well, the Ford. This is the Ford that the Ford is named after, but in Saxon times it was called Braden Ford, which means the broad ford. Going south on the Herepartha, we come to Ogdown Cottages, and it's next to this that there is something of interest, and that's the Twain Barrows. And that means the Twin Barrows. They no longer exist. It appears once on one of the OS maps and then disappears again. But it's precisely identified, its location is precisely identified in the Saxon Charter of Chieveley, S558 in the Sawyer catalogue, and it's so precise it gives, at each turn on the lead up to the Twin Barrows, the Twin Barrows, each turn is precisely identified, even down to the acreage away from the Winterbourne. So we know it's here. The reason I'm very interested in this particular lookout, well, obviously because it's antiquities, but also I met these two chaps, metal detectors, in the field next to where the Twin Barrows are. So I would like to encourage them to go along, if they've got the permissions, to go over and have a look, run the devices over the land. They will thank me when they're getting their little label in the British Museum with whatever might be underneath it. There might be nothing. I found a couple of fossils, not fossils, a couple of flints, and they found, using their metal detector, a piece of lead. And that lead was used to mend a broken Roman pot. Now there's not much Roman in this particular parish. There is in Radland Farm. There was a couple of Romano-British burials. There is, of course, 2 miles down the road, Boxford Villa, which has a beautiful villa in it, beautiful mosaic. Gorgeous mosaic. I believe that to be the centre of the estate of which Chieveley is a part. That's in the Roman period, and of course to the south you've got Bussock Hill Fort, which is an Iron Age fort, and that almost definitely would be the centre of the estate of which Chieveley is a part in the Iron Age period. These are some of the finds I made the other day walking along the footpath. However, the bottom, this one here, is that wasn't found by me, nor these 2 coins. These were found by the metal detectorists, Gary and his friend. This is what was used. This is lead, and it was used to mend 2 broken pieces of pottery. So they reused this stuff. There's quite a myth about Roman pottery being like Tupperware. You use it once and then throw it away. People repaired it. So these 2 coins were a gift. They said, "Oh, you can have these," and I was just overwhelmed. So what a nice present to give to a complete stranger. One's a Barbarous Radiate, which is a local Romano-British coin. Made when they run out of coinage, official coinage, and you can see that this is an abstract version of this. So the head, you see the point sticking out, the crown, the radiated points, and then the face. Well, you've got like just a shape and then this impression of the radiant points. So these are some flints I found. I'm pretty convinced because they have had sharpening around the edges. That's beautifully polished, and I think that would have been kept just as much for beauty as utility. That's an arrowhead. It's not a beautiful one, but it is one. And this is some sort of knife. I mean, it's flawed. All of them are flawed. I mean, this is broken. This, he never finished. Whoever, he or she never finished it. But if you put your hand over it like that, you can see it is a, you know, that could be bound onto a handle made into a cutting knife. It's sharpened down the edges. It could be because when he or she was chiseling this away, that is at right angles, so it's really hard to cut that bit off without breaking the whole thing. I have no idea for the dates for the pottery, but I don't think they're modern. They may be post-medieval, but like modern.